chaotic.
Welcome back to the Duel Lines podcast, where we talk the challenge every week, and we're back. My name is Megan Hines, and obviously Alicia Solomon's here. Every week we talk the challenge, and we're back for season 40. A big deal because it's been 40 seasons of this show. Who would have thought that we get to this point? They're doing Battle of the Eras, where we're getting different people from all four eras of the show all one house, under one roof, for shenanigans, Disneyland theatrics, and much, much more. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
I'm doing well, Megan. We're back for season. I can't believe it's been 40 seasons. I honestly cannot believe the show has not been canceled yet, but that's just me being very pessimistic due to the cast these past, I guess, 6 years, I would say, once they start bringing on Big Brother. Like, I was okay with Are You the One, but you losing me with Big Brother and Survivor. But, however, we do have 4 strong eras, which, takes up 40 people, which is a lot of people, to be honest, to get through. Like, I didn't really put into context how many people it was until seeing like the total number after. But the good thing is we get to see half of them get cut down super early on, and it's a way to weed out who we really need and who we don't. I would say, like, let's just cut the fat now. Let's do a purge early on. It's kind of like Dirty 30 when it happens. Like, they did an early kind of purge and kind of didn't make sense, but this makes sense in the context of we need to just trim the fat here. 40 people is a lot of people. So we can get to that, but we can start with episode 0, which aired last week, essentially. And it went through introducing all 40 members of this season and going through their eras and, how they intersect with one another on the show and what it brings to just the relationship of the challenge in general.
Yeah. Last week was really fun seeing like just people come back. A lot of people from the OG group in Era 1. We've seen some of them on All Stars, and now they're back on the flagship show. And Mark, who we haven't seen a lot, like he was on the first season of All Stars, and he's been behind the scenes of that. He's back on the flagship. Now he's like actually the oldest person on this cast at 52 years old. And now he's had a wrestling career in Boca Raton. Props to him. He's also a champion, I think he said at this point. So congrats to him. Rachel, who we recently just saw come back on All Stars 4. She's back looking as fit as ever. She was like, hey, we look better and stronger than we did 20 years ago. And they do. They look well refined and ready to kick butt. Also, Katie and Jodi, also here again from All Stars, who we haven't seen on the main show as much. We saw Jodi on Raw Champs, but she didn't do well on that. And everybody else in RH1 that we've seen a lot lately, if in recent years, of like CT, Derrick, Darrell, Aneesa, Tina, and Brad.
Yeah, everyone is, I think, probably one of the strongest groups that is there. And that's just not off of their abilities alone. I think their essentially their time on the show and them being like real OGs of the show, they really have the upper hand on some of these people and how to play. And I feel like Era 1 to, I would say, Era 3 gave me as a viewer the real challenge of what I wanted to watch. And between the fights, the drama, the actual challenges itself, and how this thing has progressed, I feel like between Era 1 to 3 is where I kind of intersect with how the challenge has been able to be in my life for all of these years. But Era 1 is really strong. I mean, it's no question that I love Darrell CT. CT, we gonna pray for your Equinox membership, because I don't know why you keep coming back here looking like this. And now I will say this: CT is one of those people, unlike Aneesa, that could come back and like still win a final looking like that. You know what I mean? Like we've seen CT do it at least twice in the past couple of seasons, like just off of strength and it's like riding a bike. Like he just goes like it's nothing. So I'm still CT still high on my list, but I feel like it's so jarring when I see the leather jacket that's like a medium like and like I can't. I can't. When I love CT down, happy he run traders. But yeah, I think that era is probably the strongest out of that whole 1 through 4, I would say.
Yeah, I think though they will kind of struggle because they have had a lot of history together. A lot of them are actually really good friends, so it would be interesting to see how they manage the game politically and strategically as friends. We already saw it in the first episode, obviously, but down the road it will get even more trickier as like the numbers start to dwindle. But I think that's the only like downside to them being there is the friendship part because they don't want to mess anything up with like a 20-year friendship. So yeah, with Era 2, some notable people from there that we haven't seen in a long time were Emily, Brandon, and Aviv. Brandon we just saw on All Stars 4 of his return. Emily we haven't seen in a while either, who actually Cara said like she was in a pro wrestle with her that made her get stronger and actually do CrossFit. And doing that has helped her be a better competitor over the years. Like she did that, she came back stronger, and she's still alive and kicking. She's a champ at this point now too. Also, Aviv, we have not seen that lady since she won Fresh Meat with Darrell. She is one of those one and done champs that we have not seen in a long time. But she answered the phone call and she came and she's here. Other people also in Era 2 that are on this show are obviously Cara, Derrick, Fee, Laurel, Ryan, Kellyanne, Nehemiah, and the Rotten Banana.
Not surprising that they would call him and he would answer. I honestly think the person missing out of this era is Wes. I mean, just that's just is what it is. Like if we're gonna include some of these people and he wasn't retired, then I would, happily have seen him in this group of people because I mean he is part of this era for sure. But I think that ultimately this era is okay. I think it just has the strongest women overall together, like from top to bottom. We just ran through it. Laurel, Cara, even Emily and Kellyanne. Like as batshit as the two of them are combined, like they still got it. So I wouldn't put it past any of these women. And we saw it in a daily challenge, honestly, how the two of women beat everyone in the house, men included. So again, I think this is the strongest women collection that the eras have in the house.
Yeah, and we obviously have the Laurel and Cara rivals slash sister dynamic of sorts that we saw play out on All Stars 4, which is week into this season already. That's going to be interesting because Cara is going to be back in the weird saddle, but growth is all I want to see. Also, Era 3 notables Tony, Corey, and Avery. Tony and Corey, Tony saw in All Stars 4, he had to leave because of something else. Corey, we've seen that man multiple times. He took a little time off though. And Avery, we have not seen that lady on a regular show in a long time, but she took the call for All Stars 4 and was just there. And she's just here again for Era 3. But I dare I say that she should not be on this season. Um, there's a glaring hole in Era 3 in someone who has won in Ashley Mitchell, who should have took that spot. But nonetheless, Avery's there. But it's also funny though because Corey and Tony, they have beef still stemming from Postgate.
Yeah, I mean, Corey essentially slammed Tony for throwing his pasta out the window after a drunk night, and that was literally the start of their I want to say frenemy, but of their rivalry. And I mean, I don't know if there's still any grievances that they're still holding on to, but it's just been up since then. So, not surprised. Like you said, Ashley is probably the more jarring people that is not on this season. However, with someone being in era four, I essentially think that they didn't want that collision to be in the house together because it probably wouldn't have end well. So, yeah.
And everyone else on era 3, this was like the era of like rivals and exes. We have Devin, Janae, Leroy, Naya, Amanda, Tori, and Jordan. This team is basically a lot of heavy hitters of sorts, but they don't have a lot of good camaraderie. It's a lot of bridging the gap within this group because a lot of people are friends, a lot of people are frenemies. How that works out within this game, don't know. Because Amanda and Tori got history. Obviously, you said Tony and Corey got history. And then we got exes. Leroy and Naya, who are cordial, they're cool, they're just there. And then Jordan and Tori, who are exes, but they are also friends.
Yeah, this is the gap between of the Vacation Alliance and the OG Challenge. And this is where we start to see the divide of people who have been on the show consistently, I would say now for the last 10 seasons, essentially. And it's caused me a little distress, to be honest, watching some of these seasons with some of these era three people on. But I am happy to see. I mean, I would wait till we start talking about the daily challenge. But Leroy, why would you come out of retirement and leave that damn lady 2 weeks past postpartum and you go last? Don't piss me off. Like, it's certain things I just wish we would not continue to do in the year 2024. Do not come back if you're not completely mentally and physically ready to go. Like, I just think that first performance was just, I'm just like, why?
I don't know. We'll get to that in we had a lot of portions of this episode. But Era 4 brought people from overseas and people from CBS all together. Notables from this group that we haven't seen, which was really Paulie and Theo. Because we've seen everybody else on the show in more recent seasons. Paulie just came back on the Challenge USA. Theo was on World Champs, and them two also got beef stemming from World of the Worlds too. And the kiss that happened in the heat of the moment, I forgot about that, to be honest. But they still harping on that beef, but they're bringing bro drama, unlike other people within their era.
I really don't think it's real drama, to be honest. I think they want it to be real drama, but it's really not. Like, it's giving try hard. Like, they've been on social media yapping back and forth for how long. Theo has been campaigning ever since his eye got better. Like, I'm glad you are here, but however, you do not need to make such a big scene. And between the both of them, they're a little annoying already. And it's only episode 1.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's a different pace of drama that we get compared to other people we've seen within Era 4. Whereas like with Josh, his drama is more manufactured. And he just turns on the heat at a drop of a dime.
100%. I mean, him excluded, I don't even think of him. But I think the only other drama that we would be talking about is Michelle, Nerese, and Olivia. Mainly Nerese and Olivia after last season, and Horacio included too. Like, that whole situation. Throw sprinkle a little Kylan into it if you want to get about a part of the game. But essentially, personally, Olivia and Nerese, it's actual beef. Like, it's actually something there.
Yeah. Um when Paulie was talking to when they were talking to Davon and Devin in their group confessional, Paulie was like very young and been very vibrant. That one thing that pissed me off because a lot of y'all are either my age or older. Y'all are not that young. Casey is in her 30s, the same age as some people in other eras. You are not that young. I'm sorry. I'm not being ageist. I'm just keeping it the bean. A lot of y'all in Era 4 have been on TV for a long time. And y'all are just in the Challenge Era 4 because y'all just debuted recently. Not all y'all young. I just want to make that clear.
Who said anything about it? I feel like Olivia was the only person that said like, "Oh, like we're the new era," or like whatever she was talking about. Which I don't know how long the eras are gonna last if you guys are essentially the new era. But uh, did I miss Paulie and Casey going on an age tour?
Well, because Paulie said we're young and we're vibrant. Reese said it that we're up next.
Okay,
Some
yes, Nerese is like what, 26, 27?
27, yeah.
Okay,
So the only
cool.
the
That's
youngest,
still
because the
young.
youngest ones in the group are Olivia, Nerese, and Horacio. Everybody else,
Okay, so
they've
you
been on
just mad
TV
at
longer
Paulie
than them.
saying it. You just mad at
Yes,
Paulie saying that. Okay.
yeah, that was just it. Cause I'm like, not all y'all are young. Y'all just got here. That's it. That's all the eras. And I will just say, Rachel gave a toast because she spoke facts on her toast at the table that the women, they're the reason for the ratings for the most part for the last couple years throughout the whole show. Like the men, they've given good moments. We obviously like back in the day we had like the good moments with like CT, bananas, but in recent years, the women have been carrying the drama and the competitiveness for the most part. So I give them attention for that.
I mean, I would just, you know, actually be glad that someone else other than bananas did the toast. Like, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. So that was a good change because, like, if I had to see bananas get on that table and give a toast, I'm like, get this old man out of here, please. I'm tired. So that was really the first episode of like getting back in the fold of like everybody. What also pissed me off was that at one point Nehemiah and Paulie both were shirtless, but granted Nehemiah had no shirt on, and Paulie just like took off his shirt. I'm like, was it that hot at night? You gotta be doing that.
You the only one who noticed that shit. Like, why would you notice Nehemiah having a shirt off? Girl, I barely even noticed Nehemiah on the show. Please. I don't know what happened that your brain calculated that Nehemiah and Paulie both took their shirts off. The only shirt that I was thinking about on Paulie was that Fashion Nova Taz Angels looking shirt that he had on, which don't know what part of Carver's closet he got that out of, but put it back, boo. It wasn't it.
It wasn't. I it was because I had immediately clocked and I'm like, where is that shirt? Then I realized Nehemiah didn't have a shirt on at all. He just had on a jacket. Probably had a shirt on, but I'll leave it at that. They did do like a mini house tour. They're living in a castle church of sorts. And there are no bunk beds at all. They all have their own bed in different rooms, which is cool. They're like, yay, no bunk beds. CT took his time walking around the house to see what was going on with like the decor. He walked through the room that had all of the challenge photos in it, and all the banners as well. There are some photos that had DM in them as well, and it was a emotional moment. I know for me, like just like almost getting teared up, but like just feeling swell to see like the moment talked about DM from Derrick and CT.
Yeah, I mean, she was definitely a very big part of the show for a long time, and including her diagnosis of cancer throughout the show and her still being there and coming back. I think that was, a big part of why I think CT got a softer side shown and was being a little bit more vulnerable. That's where I was able to kind of, you know, relate to CT in a way where it's like, okay, you're not just a crazy Boston white kid who is off the hinges. Like you have a soft side. You can clearly, be empathetic, and actually made me like CT, because he was just okay before. He just seemed like a crazy frat white kid. I'm not gonna hold you, but I think that relationship with DM definitely helped. And DM was no saint, but she did also bring something to the challenge that would forever be, in the record books and histories of her just being on the show. And so it's definitely sad to see her. And then, rest in peace to Knight as well. He was a part of that era of going on, from era 2 to 3 ish. So yeah, it's sad kind of thinking that some people are not here with us anymore.
Yeah. And we get to the pool party in challenge fashion. People are like, "Oh, let's get in with our undies, the skinny dip." A lot of that happened at the pool party. Bananas pushed Aneesa in the pool, and I had to laugh because that lady is just there. That's it. I think every episode needs to get lashings from one of us. It was just funny to see her just get pushed in the water just like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, deservingly so.
And then also we have some foreshadowing of romances as always in the challenge house. At this point, I think they're still together, but we get the early crumbs of Michelle and Devin. Michelle's like, "Oh, he's actually kind of cute." Like, you, but okay, that's what you like. That's what you like. And Olivia and Theo were already starting to talk to each other, and we got that as well.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, am I surprised? Not really.
No,
Not
no,
really.
not at all. And then we get a Black Mirror moment to end that first episode with Amanda and Cara mending fences. Amanda apologized to Cara about wishing that her horse would be dead because her horse ended up being dead. But they're cordial, they're cool, they're going to restart over and focused on their relationship of sorts and be cool because Amanda's also friends with Paulie. And Amanda's like, "Hey, I just want to be cool with her because we have a common enemy in Tori." And I was like, "Hey, enemy of my enemy is my friend." So that's it.
Yeah, Amanda is one of the ones who actually stick to how she feels and what side she kind of lands on in hating you or liking you. And so I respected. The apology was funny. In her burying the horse. Child. Amanda is really funny on the low. Like she's still giving us something. Like she may not be there competitively all the way, but Amanda is still gonna give us something. So yeah, that moment was interesting and with her and Cara, and we get to see how her and Tori interact too. So I think Amanda's great.
Yeah. And then we go straight into the Era Invitational in episode 1 of the season, where TJ opened up the episode. This was giving World of Color and Fantasmic at Disneyland. Because that water show that they had to start the show, I'm like, are we at Disneyland right now? Why am I seeing World of Color at 5 o'clock? That's crazy. But it was good theatrics to get people very hyped and excited at the start of the challenge. And Derrick also did say called the OGs like the action figure group, and I had to laugh because like that is true.
He called them the what?
The action figure group, like the OGs, like they're like you know, and like you have like the original group, they have like the action figures. Never mind. You don't. I'll just walk it back. But when he said that, it was giving me Power Rangers vibes because, like, the OG group, you always have those action figures. And you know them because they were the originals. That's the feeling that he had. But he also called them the Ninja Turtles. So I'm just going to let Derrick be in his own little world. I'm just going to move right up a lot along. But TJ said that this season the prize is $1 million, and this first challenge is invitational, where like half of this group will be gone, heading into the next week. And this is very interesting, like you said earlier. Like we're cutting the fats of this cast like immediately, getting to the nitty-gritty. And it's just funny to see how the Invitational actually went, because we had them on teacups, basically in the water, where each member was just like doing something weird, like in the water, up to the buoy. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what is going on.
Oh, girl, I don't know either. Half of them drowned, and yeah, half of them couldn't figure it out. Well, some of them, most of them figured it out up until a point.
Yeah. So, in the Invitational, members of each era will compete against one another to stay safe from elimination. In the last place, man and woman from each era will automatically be sent into elimination, and the winning man and woman of each era would be immune and have the power to select members of their own eras to face the last place players in the elimination round. Within the Invitational, they had to construct a puzzle, which was the 40, and then gather 10 lights from buoys in the water and plug them into the cradles. And first person who did that will win. And Laurel was the first woman to get through this like with ease. But it was also a lot of discrepancies with the placements that a lot of cast members were talking about online. Emily said that she was ahead of Aviv, when we saw that Aviv was like within like third place. It was a lot of discrepancies going on with placements.
Who would know? Who would know? We're not on the edited floor. We can't call it. It's already done. I mean, what you want us to do at this point? It's production doing production things sometimes. So, yeah. But Laurel did finish before everyone, before any man, before any woman, before Emily, before Aviv. She finished, and Cara was right behind her. So, props to them.
Yep. And right behind them was CT. Well, first it was Laurel who got it first, and then Cara, then CT. CT was the first guy to actually get it done, but Laurel and Cara were the first women. I'm like, look at them, 1A, 1B. Love to see it. TT was giving pro tips throughout the whole episode too, which was really a nice situation because, like, yo, he's an OG, he knows a lot. And the first pro tip that he actually said within this, when he was doing the puzzle, like, hey, look at all the pieces and use it as a guide, and that helped him get his puzzle done and gets his orb. A lot of people were frustrated about the puzzle. A lot of people could not get that done, like, before they even got into the water. Because a lot of people were so stuck at the puzzle and not in the water by the end of this episode.
Yeah, I think for the quote unquote puzzle specialists that were there, it definitely took them a lot longer than I thought it would be. Like a Devin, I would even throw Aneesa in there. It was a couple other people too. I think Tony was the funniest one because he literally kept trying to say check and it just looked completely off. And I'm not sure what Tony's eyes were looking at, but it wasn't connected, bro. Like he kept trying, and they were like, no, bro, like try again. But he ultimately did get it. And then I think the last person who I was like, why did it take so long was Katie. Katie was having a hard time from the jump. Like Katie was on struggle bus hard. Okay, she was the driver of the struggle bus this daily challenge, and I mean, she did say she was there for vacation, but Miss Mamas, if I'm your child at home, I do not want to see my mom on there struggling like this. Okay, and I know Katie can do better, so this is why I'm only saying what I'm saying because she's not the best competitor out of all of these women, but she damn sure ain't last. So I know Katie could do better.
CC clocked her though, because right, he was like, "Hey, some people are just here for vacation," and they cut to Katie saying, "Oh, it's their vacation." I was like, "You ain't wrong," but don't have that mindset coming into the show, or especially on a penultimate type of show like on this season. You're a legend of sorts. Get it together. Corey said he was practicing his puzzles with his daughters, and that helped him. So props to him for getting his puzzle correct. But in the water, not only were there issues and puzzles, but people, like we said, could not get it together with these teacups. Like Tina said, because Tina was like, "Hey, I'm part Vietnamese. This is not innate for me. So y'all, I can't do this." But she managed to get through it. But she was struggling as well in the water. At one point, Devin's little boat, it had a little hole in it, and he should have been DQ'd. By the way, because you should not have been swimming in the water at all.
I guess. Like I you find an alternate way to get there, you find a way to get there. I mean, you're technically just supposed to collect the buoys and come back to shore. Is it solid that you need to be on the boat? I mean, it's implied. It's that's what they're giving you it for. But if the boat don't work, then you got to use another way. And he did, which is, I mean, no shade, but it was impressive. Like he
It
literally
was,
got
yeah.
through that. He dropped, like, the boat dropped him. Essentially, he didn't even drop the boat. The boat dropped him. He tried, and he was like, you know what, forget this. I'm just gonna finish this. Just literally me in the water, and he did. And he actually, even though he could have been last, and he really should have been last because Leroy really shit the bed in this, but he actually got there, finished, and was not last. Like literally swam. So I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah, like it was impressive. I was like, that doesn't sound right because you have to still be in there, but it is what it is. Um, like I said, Laurel and Cara, that's that they were done. Um, Rachel, also props to her for being the first woman of Era 1 to get it done as well. And Jenny was on Michelle's neck. Like, they're neck and neck to finish for Era 4. But Jenny lost one of her strobe lights, and that gave Michelle the edge to be the winner for Era 4. The last two women for Era 1 were Aneesa, and Katie, the two people that are just there for vacation and friends. Congrats to them. Nerese was the last woman for Era 4, and she had to do a fit because she was the last person to finish, and she knew that like she was gonna go against one of the stronger women on her team in either Casey, Jenny, or Olivia. And she was embarrassed and she was not excited to be in Nation.
Why should she? I mean, she came off an impressive run in 39, beating Horacio and Kylan in certain situations, including puzzles, which was the first part of this daily challenge. And, she just couldn't make it through the water. And I don't think that's really her strong point. We've seen Nerese at times struggle with water challenges. So it's not really surprising that she didn't really get through this, but I'm not I'm not really upset at her throwing a fit and being embarrassed about being last, because after that performance that she had in 39, I think a lot of people were thinking like, okay, Larissa is going to come back this season and be one of the stronger women in her group. Like she can be up there. That can be, not necessarily Jenny or Casey, but she can be third next to Michelle. Like her and Michelle can kind of duke it out. So, I mean, the performance was not impressive at all from Nerese.
Yeah. And the losers of this whole thing from Era 4 were Nerese and Theo, because Theo couldn't finish his. Naya and Leroy, because Leroy, like you said, did not to play. Like that was a piss poor performance. Like he was just there, just circling around in the water, could not get to his lights at all. And then in Era 2, Kellyanne and Ryan, which I'm very surprised that Kellyanne ended up last. I wasn't surprised by Ryan, but I was very surprised by Kellyanne. And then in Era 1, Mark and Katie were the losers. Whereas the winners of each era were Michelle and Horacio, Corey and Tori, Laurel and Bananas, and CT and Rachel.
Yeah, Era 2 has the strongest women, so I don't know. Kellyanne was either going to come in third or fourth. Like it was between her and Emily just ended up finishing first. So, but she's still, up for elimination. So, this is the only thing that I like about this situation is, them trying to, like I said, weed out the people who are not needed. This is a lot of cast. It's great to see everyone back. I also would have loved to see Coral. We got a lot of Coral clips in between last week and in episode 1, but somehow, some way, she's not on the show. Don't know why, but I would have loved to see Coral. But I digress. I think that getting rid of half of these people early on is just better off for not only the politics game, but moving forward, however they're going to format this, whether it's going to be eras versus eras or, men versus women, and however they're going to combine these people on this show to kind of get to the ultimate goal of $1 million. I'm all here for it. Like let's get to the nitty gritty of it. And yeah, this is like old school. You gotta plead your way out. Like the person who wins gets to vote, and let's keep it pushing.
Yeah. And Laurel, I forgot. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize what the reason was for Laurel and Ryan's beef was. I guess because of his social media stuff, I didn't really know exactly. I just thought he was just taking Cara's side. But him and Laurel got beef because of Nicole. Um, and so she's not really caring for Ryan. But on the women's side, Laurel's options are either Cara, Maria, and Aviv. And Amanda says she's dead in the water if she goes against Naya. Like she has a chance against the other people on her team, but not Naya.
I mean, my thing with Naya is that she always comes on the show. Like she said, she's really good in eliminations at times. And she has had a strong track record in going into eliminations and coming out. But that's not why you're on the show. You're on the show to win challenges and get to the final and be one of the stronger people. And Naya just doesn't do that all the time. Love Naya as a personality. Think she's great. I'm glad that she's healthy and here on the show with us. But I do think that that's like a little. Naya is not one of the stronger women on that. Her and Amanda are probably like neck and neck. I ain't gonna hold you. Naya may have the physical edge on Amanda, but Amanda may have, the puzzles and whatever else. Like she may have that side of it. So it's kind of neck and neck between Amanda and Naya, but I do think that physically Amanda has no shot.
Yeah. And Corey is trying to figure out if he wanted to keep his enemy and Tony around or take a shot at Jordan. And I'm like, this is why Corey cannot do strategic things correctly and really pay for himself. Because Tony made points like, hey, do you want to, like, even though it's week 1, it's a good question to ask. Like, hey, do you want to run a final with me or do you want to run a final with Jordan at the end of the day? Because you know that man is going to beat you at any point.
Yeah, Tony's trying to save his ass, but also you have to think about people beating each other in the eras. And at this point of the game, like it's not people that are going against each other. Well, it kind of is going against each other in the eras, but essentially you need them to match up with the other eras. You would want to have Jordan over Tony. Like, sorry. So yes, it's early on, Tony. I get you trying to save yourself and hold on, but at the end of the day, like you and Jordan is really no. It's not tomato tomato, babe. It's gonna be Jordan every single time, and I think that's also the same problem with what Aneesa was trying to pull and saying like, oh, I have these relationships, and then there's Jodi. It's like, who do you want to have? It's like this is not your vacation alliance that you're used to for the past 4 or 5 seasons that you've been on. That's been really holding you down when you haven't done shit in eliminations or daily challenges. Like you got to fight for your own self. And because you come in last, because you are in a place where you don't have the leverage to kind of get yourself out of the situation, you got to deal with the consequences. And I think both Tony and Aneesa, although different ways and strategies of how they were trying to basically appease to not being them, thrown in, like you still got to get into it.
Yeah, because Aneesa was really trying to be like, oh, like, Rich, you're my friend. Like, don't put me in. But, babes, you were second to last. And you are dead weight. So, you was going to get voted in. But it was just also funny in event deliberation. Rachel passed off the women's vote to CT. And he's like, hey, he's going to put me in anyways. Of course he is. He's looking at it from the skill level and where you at right now. You are not measuring up to the other ladies in Era 1. I'm so sorry. But you were not going to be the one.
Yeah, CT has been there for the past 20 seasons and has seen how Aneesa has played. Like he's not blind to what Aneesa could do. And again, Aneesa's not in the same shape as she was back then, and this is not, to demean her or any kind of way, but one, you're not playing how you used to. You're always injury prone. Let's really talk about it. And you rely on your relationship to kind of get you across to a final so that you can get basically a victory win. And that's just not how this is going to work. Like these people here that have won, that you've been a part of all of these seasons for, you've seen firsthand until up to a certain point how some of these people play. So you already know how this goes. Like I feel like it's the right thing to do for Rachel because now it puts her out of the situation and she doesn't have to have that guilt that Aneesa's trying to pull with her and saying, we dated, we did this, we did that. Like Rachel is not Tori. So cut that out now. I'm going to give and pass it to CT, rightfully so, and let him decide because CT is a neutral party, quote unquote, in this situation. But CT knows what's up. Like Jodi is a stronger competitor than Aneesa. Why would they want to keep Aneesa on this team for the long haul? Like that is literally the dead weight.
Yeah. And on the men's side in Era 1, they're really playing friends because if you go by how the placement was in the challenge, unfortunately, Darrell would have actually been the vote to go in. But because all the guys in Era 1 are friends, they didn't want to piss anybody off. Derrick was really trying to be the one that's trying to appease everything. And he was like, hey, Darrell's like one of my really good friends. I can't do that. I can't let him. I want to see him stay and do things. But Derrick decides he wanted to get on the stake and put himself in for Darrell. And Darrell's like, I appreciate that, brother, but I wouldn't do that for you.
And he's not wrong. Like, and I don't think that they were having a hard time putting Darrell in. I think they made it seem that way. Derrick was the really only one that was trying to hold on to, no, I don't think we should do that to Darrell. I think he's this, da, 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 da. For whatever personal reason, Derrick feels so strongly about Darrell, which is great and cool. But CT was one of the first ones because he was chummy with Darrell in the edits of this episode. They were chilling in bed, they like having a good time. But ultimately, CT was like, listen, out of all of us, Darrell's performance has not been great. And Darrell has not had great performances in the last couple of seasons. Let's keep it a buck. And I think CT has seen that firsthand too when they were on, I think, Ride or Dies or whatever that season was, Spies, Lies, and Allies, whatever that season was, where Darrell and Amber were partnered up and CT was on that show. Like, he's seen it recently. I'm not talking about legacy. And CT also brought that up too. It was like, is Darrell being so sought after and kind of vaunted because of his legacy? I mean, it is a valid question. Um, and I think, CT wasn't wrong in that. And I just think Derrick sacrificing himself basically, great. I mean, one less person I really care about than holding Darrell down. You fight to live to see the end of the day, Darrell. That's really all I care about.
Yep. Era 2, Brian decided he would rather go against Brandon because he's not going to go against Nehemiah or Derrick. They decided to figure out who was going to go against Kellyanne. They'll probably figure it out next week. Jordan said he would repay basically Tori because they're cool. Like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of situation. And then, like, we already got into Tony trying to push Corey to choose him over Jordan. That's not going to work. I already know it because Corey's not thinking about that right now. But I do think that Corey needs to put his thinking cap on throughout this season and actually be smart because, like you said, Tony had a point, but also it also a good point better, like you said, to keep Jordan around for the time being. So that's with era 3, and then era 4, Michelle started crying because she was gonna have to probably put Olivia in. I'm like, girl, you are the cause of the issue that happened with Olivia and Reese, and you're just in the middle, crying for what?
I don't know. Michelle always cries, so I'm not sure what she wanted in those sympathy tears. No one felt sorry for her. Like Hyland said, those tears really mean nothing. They're white women tears at the end of the day. They're falling on pasty, dry face. Like we don't care about this at all. We saw you in 4K last season going against Kylan, going against Nerys, and going against Horacio in a way that you were trying to be manipulative for the whole season and then wanted to like put your hand up and act like it wasn't you. So, Michelle, no one's buying it. No one's believing you. The only person who you really have on your side is Olivia in that situation. And I think that one thing that Nerys and Horacio were trying to scheme up and say, like, oh, we need to, figure out what woman who's best. Do you want to go against Jenny or Olivia? Obviously, Olivia would be the better option. But then also there's the numbers issue with Theo and Paulie, and how it's basically Theo, Josh, Casey, and then it will be a linear of Michelle, Olivia, and um, who else is on that
Jenny.
team? Yeah, but Jenny is really an outsider. She really has no say. She really can fall in the in between. But I think that numbers wise, Nerys and Horacio have to think long term on how to move, and I think that they really should have put Josh in to the situation. But I think Theo was just so caught up in the whole me getting revenge on Paulie and let's have this whole moment. And so Theo and Paulie became a thing where it really didn't need to. And Paulie was like, I have relationships, but you won't know it. And it's like, we kind of do know who your relationships are. And I think that part of it is that if Paulie wanted to, because he's on Cara's team and we know where Theo lies in that whole era 4 situation, we could land on Paulie moving over to Horacio and Kylan and Neresa's side and them having more numbers and them being aligned and kind of getting it more balanced in that era or on that team. But Theo and Paulie trying to have their War of the World moments part 2. No kiss this time, thank God. But I just think that it was just funny to see how they were battling it out. And really, I mean, I don't even know who I have in the situation. That's the funny part. It's like I really do actually want to see this now because I can't call it. I think Paulie last season, or whatever season that we last saw him on,
USA
got
2.
on my nerves. Yeah, got on my nerves just because he was trying to appease bananas and trying to, have this image come back being a good guy after being exiled for so many years off of the show. And that may be fine and dandy and you may be renewed and maybe a different person, but it's one, boring, and two, like what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Ariana,
Yeah.
what are you doing here? So I don't know.
Yeah, because I have no dog in that fight either. I'm like, I don't really care for Theo. I don't really care for Paulie, but I enjoy them more than Josh. And I like Horacio and Kylan. So I'm like, they're both in the clear right now. Because Horacio won. He's not pinning in Kylan. So if y'all just want to give me some drama on a day one, I'll take it. But who I have between both of them in the nation, I don't know and I don't care. So that's that with that for that. And also real quick too, in era 3, Cara's playing her case very level headed, very level headed, because she's like, I'm gonna take a step back, put my ego to the side, and speak facts. And she did pretty really well. And then Bananas was not hearing it. Laurel's not hearing it. They want to take the shot because it's Cara. but Cara did a good job in giving her points. And I actually agree with her. Maybe I actually agree with her. I'm like, hey, putting this aside, do y'all really want me gone just because y'all don't like me, or do you want me gone because I can help you?
I mean, that would have been always a point that Cara could have made in previous seasons. Like Cara, like we said prior, like Cara's just been a victim, and that's just what makes her not easy to root for, because we don't want to hear you crying and moaning all the time. And I think, like you said, Cara was just logical. She was able to articulate her points and get, how she felt across. And Laura was trying to clock her. Laura was like, any given moment, I felt like Laura was trying to pounce on her. And Johnny kind of was like, well, what would you do if you were in our shoes? And Cara was like, well, we're not in your shoes, so let's stick with what we're at now. I agree. Like Cara is coming in, she is knowing who she is at this stage in her life, and she's not really, back to the old Cara that we knew her to be. Thank God for growth and change. And I'm glad that she's able to speak her mind in this situation, because at any given point we saw how Laura was last season in All Stars 4. I would say, like, Laurel is ready and willing and able to get onto Cara's case if need be. So let's hope not.
Yep. And then last thing I'm gonna say, and then we'll move on to tweets. Amanda, Amanda. I love that lady because she was not about to kiss Tori's ass. She's like, I know you don't like me. I don't like you. And that's just, and the way she kept going on, I'm like, Amanda, please. You're getting a soliloquy monologue off, and I love it, but that's not helping you in the moment. Who else is
Why
he gonna
not?
go for?
I just feel like she's keeping it a buck, because the last time we seen Tori in USA 2 with Amanda, Tori was kind of trying to be like, I want to like you. I want to be friends with you. We have so many friends in common. Let's be friends, or let's be cool. And Amanda's like, girl, I don't want to kick it with you, skate with you, nothing. Like, get out of my face. I don't like you. I'm not going to like you. And I will never like you. I can get with that. Like, I can agree with Amanda standing on what she's saying. Like, girl, we not going to be cool. I don't care how many friends we got in common. I don't care how many people we know. Like, it is what it is. I'm not going to like you. So do what you want to do. Basically, Amanda gave her the green light to do what she wanted to do, and she was going to stand on that, and which I'm not mad at her for doing. I did think it was funny how Amanda was trying to plead her case to Corey and was like, we, trying to do a finale, and Corey was like, yeah, so we don't really care about One Foot Joe. What else you got? And I just kind of like, hold on, like wait a minute, like Corey Nelson is your man. Like, he really has gone through something traumatic, whether given it was his fault or not. He has gone through something traumatic, and you really supposed to be on here like representing him. And you was like, yeah, but what else? And I
Yeah.
kind of was like, damn. Like, if I was Nelson, I would want to know how he would feel hearing that about what Corey said, because it kind of was, Amanda was riding for Nelson. As we know, Amanda and Nelson have been super cool, and it's just kind of interesting to hear how Corey was dismissive of that and was like, yeah, but so
He's like, I'm here for my daughters and my daughters only, not Nelson.
no, he wasn't here for his daughters. He was here for marriage, which is the first time I've heard Corey say that after being with that woman for so long. Because every season he's here for his daughters and he loses. This year he wants to pay for a wedding. So let's see how this goes.
Did he even? Never mind. I was about to say, did he even propose to that lady for him to be trying to pay for a wedding? I don't know. I don't keep up.
I think he's trying to get a ring. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know their life. Don't really want to know. But since he's on the show and admitting this, like, let's see what happens.
Yeah. With that was the first 2 episodes of the season basically, and they were really interesting. Like as we went through everything, but let's get to the tweets because there is a Nelson tweet that I want to get to because he actually did tweet about what happened in that deliberation. And did I save it? I did save it. Give me one. But the first one I will say, Corey calling Tony his enemy, babe. That pasta fight was 6 years ago. Like your heart beat over a fight that happened in a heated moment when you were drunk. Give it a rest.
Why? Like, if
It's
he feel like how he feel, then let him feel that. Like, he gonna hold on to. He don't probably really even like Tony to begin with. Like, he probably felt a way. When you drunk, you feel more of a way, and he got it on with him. Like, I mean, stand strong on the hate, Corey. Do what you got to do.
it'll be a good change. But dang, it's been 6 years. You're still thinking about that. That's crazy. Nelson did tweet. Good stuff, bro. Corey, you're showing everyone you're the second best of our era. Let's go. Now, bro, better start the season off. And bro, keep an eye out for Amanda. She's got your back. She might not be the biggest, but she's definitely the smartest.
I think I need a translator because you said he wrote you were the second best. Didn't Corey win his?
He
He
did.
win.
He did
So
win.
what is Nelson talking about?
He's the second best of the era because Jordan is right there.
Did Jordan win?
No.
Oh, okay. So what are you talking about, bro? We not gonna give out. Like, yeah, Jordan may have. Obviously, he's won 4 times, and he's. I'm talking about this episode. Come on,
I'm,
Nelson, stall him out.
I'm like, dang. Cause no, but Nelson's like, hey, you said fuck me, bro. Damn, that's crazy. Like, you the second best. He took a shot. I'm like, well, I get you hurt too. You had to say it. And in retrospect, this episode aside, in this era and who is there, Corey is the second best. And
Okay, I'll give you that, but if
I
you're
get
my
that.
man, you don't need to go on tweeting sprees and say that. Like, you could just shut up. Actually,
Yeah,
like, you don't got to say nothing at all.
that too. The next one. Leroy is a liar. Why is he saying that Aneesa is the best girl to never win? She has literally been holding people back on the show since the early 2000s. God dang. And I think BB versus Reese. What be versus Reese on Aneesa? They be on that lady's neck. And I appreciate that because they see it, but they spell it out a little much better.
That's actually funny. Because I don't even know why Leroy said that with his whole chest too. Like, please, we can't. At this point of the stage of the game, I would have maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I'd have been like, you know what, she's been to finals, she should have an opportunity to. But like we said, or like the person who tweeted said, Aneesa has held people back time and time again. So it's not helping her case. And low key, Leroy, you have too, which is probably why y'all both in the same boat.
Yeah. This tweet is from Johnny Bananas himself. Michelle, what Horacio is for you, Olivia is for me. All of era 4. And it's that meme of that little boy looking like very confused. Cause why would you say that, Michelle? I get that's your number one, but girl.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we ever, think Michelle is. I don't think I ever think Michelle is here with us because she always says things that are outlandish and then tries to cry wolf after the fact, like I said before. So I can't buy it. I can't really buy it. Or what she's talking about. And Bananas is right, and also Bananas trying to talk about Nerese and Horacio and saying like, "Oh, I don't know how this romance is gonna work. It never works in the house." No, your romances never work in the house. Let's talk about that. Let's stay on yourself, and don't worry about somebody else because Horacio is young, fit, and ready to take you out. So maybe worry about yourself, bro.
Yeah, worry about yourself and stop abusing Botox because someone said Johnny Bananas is abusing the Botox. Put the needle down. And that's the last tweet I got.
And you know what's funny? I can't even tell. So maybe you need to up it a little bit, actually, because I can't even tell. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. This is the first episode of season 40, and we will be back almost every week, depending on what's going on, to talk more about the challenge. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can at Dual Lines Pod. You can follow Megan at Megan Hines, and you can follow myself at Ace_S5. And if you are listening, you can watch this on YouTube at Dual Lines Podcast. Thank you guys. See y'all. Peace out.
Bye.